Okay, so you know how sometimes you hear like a scratching sound
Yeah.
coming from the walls or maybe like up in the attic?
Oh, yeah.
And you kind of wonder what in the world is going on up there?
Right.
Well, we are going to tackle that very question today because on the deep dive, we are talking about a very, very common California critter, and that is the roof rat.
They are everywhere.
They are everywhere.
All over.
And not just annoying, these guys are like seriously athletic,
Oh, yeah.
and they can cause some like pretty big problems around the house, so.
Yeah, and in this deep dive, we really want to give you a good understanding of these animals.
Yeah.
So we'll cover like how to even identify them, because some people are like, is that a roof rat or is that something else?
Right.
How to identify them, why they can be more than just a little annoying.
Right.
And probably the most important is what you can do to keep them from moving in and becoming your new roommate.
Yes, and to help us do all of that, we are drawing on some really fantastic material put together by the team at Simple Pest Management. They're great.
They're the best.
Yeah.
Okay, I am Mark Buzz.
And I'm Annabugs.
And if you're digging this deep dive,
Yeah.
please hit that follow or like button wherever you're listening to us because it really helps us out.
It does, yeah.
And a big thank you to Simple Pest Management for sharing their expertise. You guys are fantastic.
They are great.
If you want to keep up with them and keep your property pest-free, definitely check out their social media. They have a ton of great information.
They do.
All right, Anna, let's get into this.
Let's do it.
What exactly are we talking about when we say roof rat? Like, what sets them apart from other rats?
So roof rat is a specific species.
Okay.
Sometimes it's called the black rat or the ship rat.
Interesting.
And Simple Pest Management really kind of highlights the fact that these are different than the more commonly known Norway rat.
Okay.
So the roof rat is going to be smaller and way more agile.
Okay.
So think of them as like the acrobat of the rat world.
Okay, acrobat. So that explains why they always end up in the attic. Yeah.
They're up high.
So if we see one dart by, what are we looking for? Like, what are the key characteristics so we know what we're dealing with?
So there's a couple of things to look for.
Yeah.
They're typically going to be 6 to 8 inches long.
Okay.
Body length.
Got it.
And their fur is dark brown to almost black. But they often have a lighter colored underside.
So dark on top, light on the bottom.
Exactly.
Okay. What about other features? Anything else stand out?
Yeah, so their ears,
Yeah.
they're pretty prominent. They're large, mostly hairless. They have like a really pointy snout.
Okay.
And then there's the tail, really long, scaly,
I was going to say they have those really distinctive tails.
very slender.
Yeah.
And it's not just for looks.
Oh, really?
That tail
Yeah.
actually helps them balance
Oh, wow.
in these tight spaces they get into,
That makes sense.
especially as they climb.
Yeah, because they're great climbers.
Yeah, exactly.
And Simple Pest Management, they really highlight this climbing ability.
Well, for sure. So where are they likely to be trying to get into our homes? What are like the entry points they're looking for?
So unlike Norway rats, which you're more likely to find kind of at ground level,
Yeah.
roof rats are going to be experts at finding those vertical pathways.
Okay.
So they are frequently getting into homes through the attic,
Makes sense.
the basement,
Okay.
and a lot of times the utility lines,
Utility lines, really?
like phone wires or pipes. Those are like their little tight ropes.
Wow, I never thought about that.
Yeah, it's important to not just look down, but look up when you're trying to, like, keep your home pest-free.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
So we got to look up and we got to look down. These roof rats are tricky. So if they're such skilled climbers, where are they living when they're not trying to get in the house? What kind of environments do they like?
So according to Simple Pest Management, they thrive in areas that have a lot of dense vegetation.
Okay.
So think like overgrown shrubs, thick vines, trees that have branches that are close to your house or even touching your house. Wood piles can be great shelter for them.
Okay.
And then also their presence can sometimes be linked to sewer systems
Oh, really?
because they have food sources there and water sources.
Makes sense.
So they're really looking for places that have cover from predators and those easily available resources.
Okay, so we've got a good picture of what they look like, where they like to hang out.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's talk about warning signs.
Sure.
If we think we might have some of these unwelcome guests, what should we be looking for?
Early detection is key
Yeah.
to kind of managing any potential infestation.
Right.
And probably one of the most common indicators is going to be their droppings.
Okay. What do those look like?
They're small,
Okay.
dark,
Okay.
and they have this really distinctive spindle-like shape.
Okay.
So almost like a tiny football.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And you're usually going to find those where the rats are feeding or nesting.
Okay, so spindle-shaped drop-ins, we're on the lookout for those.
Yes.
What other kind of physical evidence should we be looking for?
So gnawing is another really big one. Okay.
And this is because rats have to constantly gnaw to keep their teeth from overgrowing.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so you might discover chewed electrical wires,
Oh,
damage to wooden structures,
okay.
even gnaw marks on like PVC pipes.
So this isn't just a cosmetic
No,
thing.
it's not just cosmetic.
This could be serious.
Yeah, so simple pest management really points out that chewed electrical wires, that's a huge fire hazard.
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
What about their actual living arrangements? Where are they making their nests once they get in?
So they love secluded, elevated locations.
Okay.
So your attic's going to be like prime real estate.
Makes sense.
But they can also nest in basements and wall cavities, even along those utility lines we talked about.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and they'll use anything they can find, like shredded paper insulation fabric scraps to make those nests.
So if you're finding piles of that in weird places, that could be a sign.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, what about sounds? Are they noisy?
You know they can be pretty audible.
Okay.
Especially at night.
When it's quiet. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so you'll hear scratching, scurrying sounds
Oh, yeah.
coming from the walls or ceilings.
That's unsettling.
Yeah.
Okay, any other maybe less obvious signs that we might have roof rats?
You know, it's interesting. Simple pest management talks about changes in your pet's behavior.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
So dogs and cats have really great hearing and smell.
Oh, yeah, way better than us.
Way better.
Yeah.
And so they might become unusually alert or agitated,
Oh,
especially around the areas where there's rat activity.
interesting. Okay, so we've got to pay attention to our pets.
Yeah.
All right, so you know how to ID them.
Yes.
We know the signs.
Yeah.
Now, the big question, why are they a problem?
Well, it's more than just them being creepy and in your house.
Right.
They're a risk to your health
Okay.
and the integrity of your home.
Okay, so serious stuff.
Yeah, in simple pest management, they really highlight this. So first, they are known to carry diseases.
Like what kind of diseases are we talking about?
Things like rat bite fever, various forms of typhus.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, and those can be transmitted through bites, scratches, or even contact with their droppings or their urine.
So we don't want them in the house.
No.
Okay, what other health risks?
They also often carry fleas,
Oh, yeah.
and then those fleas can then infest your pets,
Right.
your living space.
Yeah.
So another whole problem on top of the rats.
Itchy bites and possibly other diseases.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like a domino effect.
It is.
We touched on the property damage earlier with the
Mhm.
chewing and the gnawing. How bad can it really get?
Well, we already said the fire hazard with the electrical wires,
Right.
but they can also chew through plumbing pipes,
Oh, no.
leading to leaks and potential structural damage.
Wow.
Additionally, they can damage insulation
Right.
in attics and walls,
Yeah.
and that can reduce your home's energy efficiency and make your bills go up.
Yeah. Nobody wants that.
Nobody wants that.
And I'm guessing they go after our food too, right?
Oh, yeah.
Once they're in the house.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So they will contaminate any food they can get to.
Right.
So pantry countertops, pet food left out,
Yikes.
it can all be a problem.
So we're talking about health risks, fire hazards, structural damage, food contamination. This is serious stuff.
It is.
And you mentioned earlier, too, that they multiply really quickly.
They do.
Like, how quickly are we talking?
So this is a big reason why infestations can get out of hand so fast.
Okay.
Female roof rats can have up to 6 litters per year,
Oh, my goodness.
and each litter can have 5 to 8 pups.
Oh, wow. So that can get out of control really fast.
It can.
6 litters a year.
Up to 8 babies each time.
That's a lot of rats.
It is.
Okay, so we know what they are.
Yeah.
We know why they're a problem.
Right.
Now let's get to the really practical part. How do we prevent them?
Prevention is the best.
Yes.
And Simple Pest Management, they have a great guide. And they outline steps that homeowners can take.
Okay.
And probably the first and most critical is sealing any potential entry points.
Yeah.
Block their access.
Yeah, get them before they even get in.
What kind of openings should we be looking for?
You need to do like a full-on inspection of your home.
Yeah.
Look for any holes or gaps.
Yeah.
Anything bigger than 1/4 of an inch needs to be sealed.
Wow. Okay.
And so you can use things like steel wool or metal mesh
Okay.
because rats can't chew through that as easily.
Yeah.
And really pay attention to areas where pipes and wires enter the house.
Okay.
Roof vents.
Yeah.
Any gaps around doors or windows. Don't forget to check the foundation too.
Okay. So good advice. What else can we do?
Maintaining a clean environment is huge.
Inside and out.
Inside and out.
Okay.
So indoors, this means storing all your food,
Okay.
including your pet food.
Right.
in airtight containers,
Got it.
cleaning up any crumbs or spills.
Right.
And don't leave dirty dishes out overnight.
Right. Get rid of the temptation.
Yeah, exactly.
So basically good housekeeping.
Yes, exactly.
What about our yards?
So yard maintenance is important too.
Oh.
Trim back any dense vegetation,
Okay.
especially shrubs and trees that touch or overhang your roof.
Right.
Those are easy ways for the rats to get in.
Makes sense.
Store firewood and other wood piles at least 18 inches off the ground
Okay.
and away from your foundation.
Right.
And make sure your garbage cans are all sealed tight.
Good tips.
Yeah.
What about traps and bait?
So those can be used strategically,
Okay.
like in areas where, or suspect there's rat activity.
Right.
But you have to be so careful.
Especially with pets and kids.
Exactly. You
Yeah.
don't want to hurt anybody
Right.
or any pets.
Yeah.
So be really cautious with that.
Okay. Good advice. Any other preventative measures we should be thinking about?
Yeah, I think regular monitoring is really key.
Okay.
So every now and then, take some time and inspect your attic, your basement, your crawl space.
Okay.
Look for any of those signs we talked about.
Right.
Nesting materials, droppings, gnaw marks.
Yeah.
And if you notice a big rat population, one that seems beyond what you can handle,
Yeah.
you might want to get some professional help.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So when should we call in the pros? Like, when is it time to just say, I need help?
So if DIY's not cutting it, or you just don't want to deal with rodents,
Makes sense.
that's when you call an expert.
Yes.
And Simple Pest Management, they offer comprehensive rodent control services,
They do.
specifically targeting roof rats, Norway rats, and wood rats.
Wow. Okay, so they handle it all.
They do.
And they're located all over California, right?
All over, so San Diego County, South Riverside County,
Okay.
Sacramento County, West Placer County.
Wow, that's a big area.
Big area.
So if you're in one of those areas
Yeah.
and you've got a rat problem, give them a call.
Yeah.
Okay, we've covered a lot of information today. From identifying these rats,
Yeah.
understanding the problems they cause,
Yeah.
to how to actually prevent them.
Right.
So let's just do a quick recap of those key identification points for everyone listening.
So remember to look for those smaller, darker, spindle-shaped droppings.
Yeah.
Look for signs of gnawing on wires, wood, or pipes.
Okay.
Keep an eye out for shredded nesting material.
Yeah.
Listen for those scratching sounds.
At night.
Especially at night.
Yeah.
And watch your pets. See
Yeah.
if they're acting weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And these guys are more than just a nuisance.
Yeah.
They can spread diseases. They carry fleas. They can start fires. They can cause damage to our houses. They can get in our food, and they multiply really quickly.
Yeah, and you said it, they multiply so fast, a little problem can become a huge problem before you know it.
Exactly. And when it comes to prevention, remember those key steps.
Yes.
Seal up any entry points. Keep your house clean inside and out. Manage your yard. Get rid of any food or shelter sources.
Right.
Use traps and bait carefully if you
Yes.
need to. And monitor your house regularly.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to call in the experts
Exactly.
if you need to.
So basically, be proactive and be vigilant.
Yes.
That's our best defense.
It is.
Here's a final thought for everyone listening. Think about all the unseen pathways and vulnerabilities that pests, not just roof rats, but all sorts of pests might use to get into our homes.
Yeah, they're sneaky.
It really shows how important it is to pay attention and just take a comprehensive approach to keeping your home pest-free.
Yeah, a healthy living environment.
Thanks for exploring this with us today.
Yeah, this was fun.